Welcome to my channel Priyanka's Learn It Well. In the series of data structures and algorithms, today I'll be taking up the efficiency of algorithms and a priori analysis. Efficiency of algorithms. The performance of algorithms can be measured on the scales of time and space. We have already seen the concept of the time and space in the previous episode. What is the time complexity? The time aspect refers to looking for the fastest algorithm for the problem. If you remember, we had talked about the best case, the worst case, and the average case in the previous episode, showing that the analysis of algorithms can be seen in the fastest algorithm performing and the slowest algorithm performing. Now, talking about the other aspect, that is the space complexity, we are looking for the performance of an algorithm that consumes or needs less space for its execution. So, time and space are the two major concretes of measuring the efficiency of algorithms, and in specific, we would be considering the time aspect. The time complexity can be computed empirically or theoretically. As the name suggests, the empirical leads to calling for implementing the complete algorithm and executing them on a computer for various instances of the problem. Now, for the empirical, the time taken by the execution of the program for various instances of the problem are noted and compared. That algorithm whose implementation yields the least time is considered as the best among the candidate algorithmic solutions. Talking about the theoretical a priori algorithm, we say that it calls for mathematical determination of resources such as time and space required as a function of parameter. The a priori analysis is for the efficiency, wherein the number of times the statement is executed in the program, known as frequency count of the statements, is considered. The other factor is the time taken for a single statement to execute. As we have already seen that the execution time is not a good measure to identify or compare the algorithms, so we'll say that we'll only be concentrating on the first one, that is the frequency count of the statement. Let's check the pulse of the code. We have three blocks here, the first block, second, and the third block. Let's say how do we calculate the frequency of the code. Here in this, I have one statement, that is x is equals to x plus 3. So I say the frequency of this statement or this block is 1. Come to this block. Here there is a loop, that is for j is equals to 1 to n, do x is equals to x plus 3. So this particular statement will perform n number of times. So let's say if I say that n is equals to 2. So if I say that the value of n is 2, so I'll say that this would be executing 2 times, that is x is equals to x plus 3 the first time, and then x is equals to x plus 3 the second time. So the frequency count of this particular block becomes n, since this statement is going to execute n number of times. Coming to the third block, we have an outer loop, that is for j is equals to 1 to n. Then there is an inner loop for x is equals to 1 to n. We have to execute x is equals to x plus 3 n number of times. So for x is equals to 1, we'll perform it n times. Then this particular code inside the exterior loop will again be executed n number of times. So the frequency of this particular block will be n into n, that is n square. The computations of the total frequency count of the program is shown with the tables for each of the block taken in the previous slides. The opening statement for a for loop is given by a formula to calculate the number of times it is executing. Similarly, for the statements that are within the loop are executed by a particular formula in terms of how many times it got executed. Before we start with the blocks, let's discuss this for loop for a while. So for loop, we are given for I is equals to 1 to n. If this is given, we say that n is the upper index and 1 is the lower index. So we'll calculate this as n minus 1 plus 1 in the bracket plus 1 times. So that will give you n plus 1 times. The statements within the loop are executed as n minus 1 plus 1 times. That gives you the value of n. In the first block, we have seen that there is one statement, that is x is equals to x plus 3, that has a frequency count of 1. That is, it got executed one time and the total frequency count executes to 1. Coming to the next, the computation of the total frequency count of the second block. So here you can see that there was one loop and there was a statement within that loop. So let's see how this frequency count has been calculated. So for j is equals to 1 to n, the frequency count is n plus 1. How it is, we'll take this particular point, that for a for loop, how do we calculate the number of times? So this is the formula for calculating. The upper index is n. The lower index is 1 and we'll be adding it with 1 and then the whole will be added with 1. So that is how we get the value as n plus 1. Now we say that the statements within the loop are executed the upper index minus the lower index plus the 1 time. So we'll say that this is n minus 1 plus 1, that gives n. This particular end would be with respect to the outer loop. So this is ending. So we have a value as n. So I have written as 3n square. So the value here would be 3n plus 1. So how do we get 3n plus 1 is we add all the three numbers and then we see that what is the value. Now we'll compute for the third block, wherein we had two loops, the two for loops and a statement. So as taken in the previous example, the for loop has this particular formulation. So as per the previous example, we know that for the loop we'll get the value of n plus 1. Now coming to this particular statement, the statement within the loop are executed as upper index minus lower index plus 1 time. So we'll get the value as n. Now we have multiplied it with n plus 1 because this is inside this particular loop. Coming to x is equals to x plus 3, this is getting n square. Why? Because this is working for n times. So x is running for n time, j is running for n time. So is equals to x plus 3 will run is n square time. Now come to this end part. So one end is with respect to the inner loop and the other end is with respect to the outer loop. So the end of the first loop will be n square, because if we multiply this, we will be getting n square plus n. So this if we open this expression, we'll get n square plus the end for this particular one is n. So if you might be thinking that why I'm not writing n square plus n or n plus 1. So if you remember, we are only considering the higher order variable, the higher order polynomial, and when we calculate the total count, we get 3n square plus 3n plus 1. Coming back to this frequency chart again, we have seen that the total frequency that was calculated is 1. So the order of this particular statement would be O of 1. We'll understand what is this O of 1. For j is equals to 1 to n, do x is equals to x plus 3. We have counted the frequency as 3n plus 1, and we know that we would be avoiding the lower order. So the order of this particular block will be order of n. And for this we have calculated the frequency count as 3n square plus 3n plus 2, and avoiding the lower order, we'll say that the order of this particular block is on square. That is all from today's episode. We'll be covering the asymptotic notations in the next episode. If you're liking my content, do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and hit the bell icon for all the notifications from Priyanka's Learn It Well. Thank you.